Good afternoon. And 2023 is over, and I can't think of anyone else I'd like to talk about than what happened in 2023 than the one and only Mr. Don Wick from the Red River Farm Network. Happy New Year, Don.
Happy New Year to you, Tommy. Appreciate the chance to go out the year with a bang. It's a good chance to visit with the year. Thank you.
What happened in 2023 and what didn't happen in 2023? The stage is yours. You can go long, you can go short. You want to file a complaint with the United States government? Here's your chance to be on the radio, Don.
Oh, well, let's do it. Let's talk DC if we could. You think about how we started, Tommy, with trying to put a new speaker into the House of Representatives. This has been a lifelong goal, it seems, for Kevin McCarthy. He went 15 rounds, uh, gave away his soul to get that job, and really was only on the job for a very short amount of time. I think the shortest time ever for a Speaker of the House, when those eight very conservative members of his caucus uh, brought in a chance for another vote. And then we went through what, five, six different people that their name was brought up as being the next speaker. Tom Emmer from Minnesota among those, and we ended up with Mike Johnson from Louisiana. Just it shows you with these razor thin margins we've got in both the House and the Senate, and the factions on both the right and the left that are very much to the extreme. Not a lot can get done, and it just creates a lot of chaos.
Yeah, it's disappointing. If you were a farmer or rancher, how would you feel about not having a farm bill?
Yeah, good point. We worked very hard on getting this farm bill done here for 2023, and again, because of the drama with this speaker situation, it got pushed back, and now it's got extended into 2024. I guess the plus side is we now have the certainty of knowing we have what we've had for the last 5 years in place for another year. It's worked, I think, for most producers. At the same time, they went in there with a lot of asks. They wanted to see those reference prices brought back into reality, or at least some semblance of reality of bumping those reference prices. They wanted to maybe tweak some things with crop insurance. They wanted to put some investment into trade, the market promotion program, and those kind of efforts. None of that has happened, again, because of some of that drama that we've had in DC. And now I think a lot of the ag groups want to make sure we get this done here in the first quarter, or at least the first half of 2024. And that's an extremely big lift as far as I'm concerned.
Hmm. Yeah, there's a lot at stake here. In your career, you've had a great career in ag broadcast and media. Do you remember going this long without having a farm bill?
Uh, we've had our different challenges in trying to get a farm bill passed back in the uh, Bush administration. We got a veto with a farm bill, and Colin Peterson was very much involved in getting the maneuvers done to get that one done after an extension that we had. So we've gone through farm bill drama in the past. That's nothing new, and we'll get through this one as well. But it certainly was a bit of a challenge here in this past year.
Interesting. Do we dare talk about the election? 2023 is over. We have an election coming in 2024. I have a feeling that's going to be a very volatile time in America. What are your thoughts on 2024 elections?
Think how nasty these elections have been in recent years, and I just have to believe it's going to get even more so when we look at 2024, with likely the two folks that were in the presidential race the last go around back at it once again. Uh, I just to me that's going to be a big issue as we get into the new year, and I think some of that nastiness may have an influence on what happens in both the House and the Senate. We've got some big changes of people that are not running, so there's going to be some open seats, those kind of things, and with margins are this tight in both the House and the Senate, that could swing control of either one of those chambers as we go into another election cycle.
Should be interesting. Anything you notice as far as crops on the northern plains? I know you travel all over the country, but you are heavily uh, centered there. I would call you the great voice of the northern plains. You could literally walk to Minnesota from your office, and you travel a ton of the country from Minnesota, North Dakota, up to Canada, down to South Dakota. You go to the national events. What was the drama when it came to growing crops and raising crops in 2023?
We talked about it before, Tommy, but I look at this year. We started late. It was a real struggle to get a crop in the ground. Then we had folks talking about drought, a very extensive drought across much of this country. And still, I think a lot of folks were surprised with the bushels that we had here at the end of the year. And in our footprint, I just have to look at that sugar beet crop. Again, some challenges that we've had, but it was an all-time record crop. We're seeing beet shares being sold at all-time highs. It really is, I think, surprising, but it certainly is nice when you get that production here at the end of the year.
Yeah, just for reference from people watching that in the Northern Plains, we grow about 500,000 acres of sugar beets up and down the valley. Is that correct?
That is correct, and we're in a region with the American Crystal Sugar Company, Mindac, and then a bit to our south, Southern Minnesota Beet Sugar Cooperative, and very much an important part. It's a niche, obviously, but it's a very important crop for production in this part of the world.
Yeah. As we move to 2024, we have to talk before we end the show, Don. Geopolitics. I know you and I had talked before off the record. I have a bingo card. I fill that thing up every few weeks, Googling where's this area, what's that area, what do you mean the water in the Panama Canal's fresh? What happened with Gaza and Israel? Is Ukraine and Russia still fighting? If you thought 2023 was the year that the world was going to have peace, you got that one wrong. Talk about that a
Boy,
little bit.
it's just been yeah, absolutely. I get up every morning at 3 o'clock and put news together for our morning broadcast. And every day you walk into the studios and there's something else happening in the world. And in agriculture, we need to be paying attention to what is happening in the Black Sea region, what's happening with the border, the U.S. and Mexico, what's happening with a crop in Brazil. There's protests happening in Europe where it's not even hardly making the news anymore. There's a lot of things happening around this globe, and they all have an impact on what is happening with the production here at home. So we need to have not only that very narrow scope of what's happening in our own backyard, but really what is happening around the world.
Do we dare talk about the border insecurity? I had a young person over at my house the other day, and he was saying we need to do something with the homeless in Chicago and in Valparaiso. And I said, homeless? What about the daily homeless people that get bussed in? What about the people coming in from Canada? I told you in a few weeks ago that the Canadian population went up 400,000 people in the last 3 months. They are one of the number one growing countries in population. There's a lot of things going on with the border, and these are touchy subjects. You're not running for politics, but a few minutes ago you said that there's protests and riots around the world. Don, you don't need to travel overseas to see that. You could just drive to Chicago or any major city, and there's a lot of opinions out there. You can go to a university. I mean, I feel like 2023 was not it wasn't a time we came together as a country, and it wasn't a time we came together as the world. So, any thoughts on this border issue and the homeless population that's happening in all these big cities?
Immigration issues are one of those hot button topics that we just never can seem to find any consensus on. We try to nibble at the edges, but never get anything uh, accomplished. It seems like as we speak, we have this huge caravan of people that are crossing the border, coming from places like Venezuela, Cuba, and other parts of Central America as well, across the border from Mexico into the United States. We had that 5-day shutdown here just in the past week with the El, El Paso and the Eagle Pass
Hmm.
rail crossings from Texas into Mexico. It certainly has a huge impact when you look at the size of the customer we have for agriculture just south of our border. Uh, Obviously, a challenge that all of us are looking at. No easy solution here, but the story just kind of has fingers that runs through a lot of different veins here.
2023 was a wild year. I'm sure 2024 will have all types of uh, peaks and valleys and highs and lows, and hopefully we grow bushels. I know you cover the bushels. I'm in the bushel business, and with that, I do have something exciting to tell people that you will be one of our premier people and ATA Pro Media as we go live at 9 every day. But you will be part of the premier package, the paid for package, and people will be able to get a better feel for what's going on in DC. And I do know from my clients that they go, you should do more of those Don Wick videos. So we will do that in 2024. Does that sound like a good deal?
I always appreciate the chance to do this, Tommy. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to close it up with my wife, Gina G. She's going to ask you to like, subscribe, watch us at 9. That's Mr. Don Wick from the Red River Farm Network. Happy New Year, my friend.
You too, Tommy. Take care.
Thanks for joining us. We're here every day, 9 a.m. Central. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.